fact that once you stop playing, it's almost like you become irrelevant. People feel that, right? Like they'll tell you that you're not as relevant or as hot anymore once your career is over. And when you look back at the history of the game, like how many guys that's retired that people still talk about?
What's going on, everybody? It's your girl JQ, sports PR manager and personality.
And it's your boy Spoon, man. High school basketball coach, sports junkie, just really trying to make it make sense.
And you're now tuned in to another fire episode of the Counted Me Out podcast. So today's episode was pretty cool. Not because we're shooting in Atlanta's Overtime Arena, but also we have the honor and the pleasure of interviewing the general manager, head of basketball, former NBA player, Damien Wilkins.
What's up? Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Dame, it's good to have you on here, man.
Appreciate you having me.
How are you feeling tonight? It's a big night.
Big night. Big game 3 in our finals against RWE and City Reapers. So get ready for game night. Our game days be pretty busy.
So I got to ask you, who you got winning tonight?
Yes.
Okay. This is like not your first time. Okay, I see what's going on.
So before we get into the interview, because we have a lot of questions, we like to start off with some fire questions. All right. So I'm going to ask one, and then Spoon's going to ask it.
Let's do it.
All right. So if you had to build a building here in downtown Atlanta, what building would it be and why?
See, that's what I be saying, JQ. You need to the fire question come off you.
It's to break the ice.
You just spend a day and don't know what they ain't no icebreaker. They don't know what to say. Hell, I don't know.
Well, I would say this. I'm not an architect.
Okay.
So I would build Overtime Elite. I would build a gym. I'm a sports person. I'm a basketball, person. I'm a purist when it comes to that. So I would build some type of basketball gym with a weight room component. In the spirit of Atlanta, we got to have a grass wall.
Gotta have a grass wall. Hey, look, with some neon lights on it saying something. Got to have that aspect.
Yeah. Something like that.
Okay. I'll take that. What you got, Spoon?
See, I'm a little bit more simple, gang. Like, I'm from here, born and raised here. Atlanta wing, capital of the world. Everybody know we the chicken capital of the world. Drums or flats?
I'm pescatarian.
Okay, let's go back 15 years. Let's go back 20 years when you was young.
20 years is fair.
You feel me?
Flats.
Okay, let me ask you a serious question. Dave. Let me ask you a serious question. Could you order all flats and eat all flats?
I've never ordered all flats. I always like the mix, but I have a preference.
The ratio got to be perfect, though.
The ratio got to be perfect, and it depends on from where. Some people,
that's key right there.
Some people flats
ain't flat.
You can tell they flat.
No meat on it.
And you ranch or blue cheese?
I'm ranch.
Okay, so then you ain't all the way a terrorist. You just kind of like a little bit,
I'm ranch.
So before we get into OTE, I want, if you could, go back and tell the audience where you played. You played in Florida and in high school in Florida, and then you went to NC State. I actually used to be an NC State fan back in the day when I moved to North Carolina, and then you made that transition to Georgia.
Well, I started actually at Chattahoochee High School in Duluth. I left there. My dad, and I, we just didn't feel like the competition was what I wanted it to be. I was getting more competition playing in the off season, in the summer, like just around Atlanta, than playing at my school. So I went to Prospect Hall, which is a prep school in Frederick, Maryland. I was coached by Stu Vetter. Jason Capel was my teammate at the time. We won a USA Today national championship. And then I left there and went to Dr. Phillips in Orlando my senior year, because I just wanted to be around some familiarity. And I felt like I did everything I could do. Won a national championship. Going into my senior year, I was ranked one of the top 5 players in the country as a senior. So I felt like I did what I needed to do to get to where I wanted to get to. In terms of a status at the time, I don't care anything about rankings now,
Yeah.
and I tell our guys that now. I didn't know then how much it didn't matter.
Exactly.
And then I graduated from Dr. Phillips. I was a McDonald's All-American. I chose NC State because my mom lived in North Carolina, and she lived about an hour and a half away from Raleigh.
Oh, okay.
And she never saw me play in high school. So I was living with my dad at the time, and I went there just only really and mainly for that reason. So while I was there, the style of play just didn't fit me, and I thought it was, because you know how coaches do, they tell you what they need to tell you in recruiting.
Every
To
time.
get you there. Right.
Every time.
And then it was just a complete switch. So I left really after my freshman year, and I entered the pre-draft combine. And at that time, and I think you can still do it now, you didn't, as long as you didn't
Grace
hire an
period.
agent,
Yeah,
you could go back to school. So I didn't hire an agent. I just wanted to test the waters and see what was going on.
Don't tell your
Played
age too
great.
much, Dame. Don't tell your
Right.
age too much, Dame.
Right. Played great throughout the combine, and I was like, okay, like I'm getting momentum. I may as well just stay in this thing. Last 2 days, well, the day before the last day, I rolled my ankle really bad, so I had to shut it down. And at that moment, I was like, I don't want to risk it. I still have time. I'm just a freshman. I'm gonna go back to school. Got back to Raleigh. Long story short, called Coach Sendek. I'm in the airport in Raleigh. I say, look, I'm coming back to school. Like, I decided, I'm gonna come back to school. I'm gonna give this another shot. And he told me, he was like, don't bother, and just hung up. And I was like, I thought I had the wrong number, so I called back, and like he didn't answer. So I called Sean Miller, who was the assistant coach at the time, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on. Like, he told us that we weren't taking you back." And I was like, "Okay, cool." Called my dad. My dad got me a flight right there in the airport. I flew back to Orlando. By the time I landed, I had like all these messages.
The word had got out.
Yeah, from different schools. Like, hey, can you come on a visit? Can you come on a visit? My first visit was Georgia. I sat down with Coach Herrick, who was the coach at the time, and I knew I wasn't visiting anywhere else. And ended up at Georgia.
So I have to ask, because we had this question on one of our previous episodes about who's the true hoop state. Okay, so I'm pretty sure you've heard that North Carolina is the hoop state. Would you agree with that?
I actually haven't heard that.
Oh, really?
Wait,
Hold on.
wait.
Damien, you're not telling me you've never...
JQ, just wait just 1 second, please.
I cannot...
Never, I just know a basketball guy like yourself, at some point in time, has had to heard that...
I've heard people argue that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard that be just. I've heard
she
it be.
she be making it seem like
that's
it's clear
just
cut,
normal
like,
and clear
what are you
cut.
talking
Yeah.
about, lady?
You know. In terms of hoop states, like I think Washington gets overlooked a lot.
For sure. It's definitely some heat from Washington,
I think Washington gets overlooked a lot with all the people that's come out of there. I don't know. I mean, obviously California, LA, but like a lot of those guys migrate into LA and then or go to college in LA or move there in the summer.
If you had to say it was one state, that's the hoop
That's
state.
just a straight hoop state based on, in my opinion, I gotta say Washington.
Okay. I appreciate that. I just knew it wasn't no damn Carolina. I don't know.
But I get why people say that. I mean,
maybe now North Carolina is not the true hoop state. I'm talking about 10 years ago.
But why?
Because a lot of talent came
Michael
out
Jordan.
And he's from New York.
Michael Jordan. That's the only reason. Michael Jordan.
But he's from New York.
But
She didn't know that. She had no idea. She didn't know Jeff was from up there. She didn't know that.
He's from New York.
so you mean to tell me you've never heard the debate?
I've heard the
No,
debate
it's a
before.
debate.
I've heard the debate
Okay.
before, but like I've heard more about hoopers that come out of the state of Washington than I have North Carolina.
Okay.
I think people in North Carolina who believe that get caught up in Duke and Carolina.
Yeah, I'm
and
telling
think
you.
all those guys are from there. They're not. Vince Carter ain't from North Carolina. He's from Florida.
Hey
Like,
man,
all these
shout
guys-
out to them guys from Washington though, man. Cause I'm sitting back thinking now. You got Isaiah Thomas from up that way.
Paolo, Jamal
Paolo,
Crawford.
Crawford. You
Nate
got
Robinson.
Roten. There's a lot of guys from up there way, bro, that can really play.
Okay, we're gonna post it on
I don't
social
think
media
it's Georgia,
and do a
but,
toll.
I don't think it's Georgia, but I'm biased. I might just be biased.
I'll throw Georgia in it because I'm biased.
Because we've been doing good.
I'll throw it in the conversation because I am biased too, but DeJounte Murray, like it's a bunch of guys we have not named.
What really highlighted that for me, seeing all the guys that are from that area, is the crossover league, bro.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching the crossover league, and I'm like, damn, I didn't know he was from up there. Like he from up there too. I didn't know he was from up there. It's a lot of guys that watch the area.
Jamal has done a great job with that.
From up there.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. Hey, yo, Jackie, you did wrong, man. You did wrong.
We'll take it to social. We'll take it to social media.
You know what they gonna say on social media?
So I'm pretty sure you've heard people that know about your father, your uncle playing the NBA, and throughout your journey, you had pressure to be just like them, to be as talented as they were. Did you ever have a moment where you said to yourself, I don't want to be like them. I want to create my own legacy?
Yeah, I mean, I still do. I never wanted to. I didn't want people to look at me and be like, he has an advantage because of. I wanted people to just respect my work ethic and what I brought to every team and every game. So I tried to run from it for a while, even not wearing the number 21. That's been in our family since the beginning. But what I noticed was the back of my jersey still said Wilkins.
Every time.
No
Can't
matter
hide
what.
from that one.
I couldn't run from that. And so what I did was I just embraced it. I accepted it. And it was almost like a challenge. I was like, okay, like I'm never gonna show them what Neek showed them. I'm never gonna show them what my dad showed them, but I'm gonna show them who I am. And if they wanna make their comparisons, that's on them. I don't need to make that comparison. And I felt that the best way to kind of just escape it was to not believe in their comparisons.
Ooh, wait a minute.
So
say that one more time, Dane.
I said the best way for me to escape that was not to believe the public's comparisons. Like if I didn't believe it, it didn't matter.
Right.
I think what was going on when I was younger and I felt that pressure, I was believing their comparisons, and I didn't have to. Like I just believed in myself and believed that I was going to be the best version of myself that I can be. Same thing I tell my son. My son plays here too, and he wears 21. It's Wilkins on the back of his jersey, but I want him to be him. He's much different from his dad, his granddad, and his uncle. Like, he's not anything like either of us.
Yeah.
And I'm happy about that. And I want him to play the game because he loves it, because he gets joy out of it, because it's something that he wants to do long term, and not because people who come before him done it.
Hey, can you give me a little bit, just give me a little bit of a backstory on your transition from being Dame the basketball player to post basketball after life after basketball? What that transition for you was like? Because one, you played at the pinnacle, like you did it at the highest level. You feel me? You did it at every level, high school, college, and professional. Just talk about the transition from, all right, I'm a basketball player every single day, to life after basketball, and what that transition was like for you.
Man, I think for me, I went into it wanting to learn as much as I could, not only about the game, but about myself and about what makes people successful in it. And every year I took a step towards growth in that, right? Like I built relationships with people through all the programs from the National Basketball Players Association that, they have every summer. I would go to those events. I would network with people. I would always be the guy that, like, when the player development people would come in and say, hey, we got an event at Best Buy to sign autographs. Do you want to go? I'll
Sure.
go. Because for me, I was like, I don't know who I'm going to meet there.
Right.
And I always valued that. So through those conversations and events and just things that were put on that I volunteered to be a part of, I learned that there's much more to it. And I started learning the business side of things just accidentally. And I was intrigued by that side of it. And the more and more I learned about the business side of it, the less I wanted to be put in a box. So I wanted to be
coming on with it.
I wanted to be more than that. And I remember in my fourth year, in my career, my fourth year, because it was right when we moved to Oklahoma City, my best friend told me, we were just talking out to dinner, and he was like, your actual career is going to be long enough, but he was like, your post-career is going to be bigger than your basketball career. And I don't know if anyone's ever told you that, but I just feel like it is. And I said, well, I hope so, because my basketball career sure is very profitable, right?
and I think those are the type of conversations that I feel like our youth need to hear more of, because I see a lot of student athletes when they're transitioning from college, if they don't get the opportunity to play, at the next level, they go from college into the real world, and they use their sport as their self-identity. So because they're no longer playing basketball, they don't know themselves. They don't know what that transition looks like.
A lot of that too has something to do with like the fact that once you stop playing, it's almost like you become irrelevant. People feel that, right? Like they'll tell you that you're not as relevant or as hot anymore once your career is over. And when you look back at the history of the game, like how many guys that's retired that people still talk about, and
that they don't see often.
That they don't see often.
A lot of the guys that make that transition, they just make it from the court to the microphone, and they're still they see you all the time. Guys like Charles Barkley and Shaq. There's kids now that never even knew who they were as basketball players. As athletes now, I tell people all the time, when people meet you now, they're not meeting Wilkins, the basketball player. They're meeting the businessman, and it's the same fact that they're attracted to that part. The basketball was extra.
Right.
Like I couldn't help the fact that I put the work in for that, but this part, they're meeting something brand new
and totally different. And they're meeting a transitioned person. And for me, I just nurtured all of those relationships, and I didn't want to go home. I've seen it, personally. I've seen it, and I've also seen it from my peers, where your career ends, you go home and you're on the couch for a while, and ain't nothing coming in, but stuff is going out. So you chilling and you thinking this is life, but life happens,
and it's gonna happen.
Yeah, and once life start to really get the life in, like you start finding less and less of a purpose, and now it's like whoa, like you're trying to slow a clock down that's never gonna slow down for you. That time gets passing, and now all of a sudden it's been 6 years, you haven't found a thing, but you got to go check that mailbox every day, and those letters ain't stopped coming. Family's still around because they don't understand what life after is about. So I didn't want that for myself, and I still have had no break in stride. I retired from playing in 2017. That was my last year playing, and in April, in May, I started working for the Players Association of that same year. And I left there in 2021 and came here. So there was I've had no couch time.
Right.
Like I've had no time to think about what my next move is. It's just like I've just kind of transitioned into one thing and then another thing, and it keeps getting better. And I'm just very, very fortunate, and I think it has a lot to do with me as a person and how much I don't take any of it for granted, and just how I respected the game, myself, my peers, people that I've learned from. I still talk to everyone that I talked to 10 years ago. I still talk to those same professional people because they've grown too. So I want to know what they've learned and know what they know now to help me. This has been great for me, but I wouldn't have been able to be successful in this role had it not been for the start of it all in those relationships, and then my role at the Players Association taught me how to help players even more.
And that's what I was going to ask you. Your first position here at Overtime wasn't general manager.
No.
Talk about the role.
Year one was like I came in here and I was Dean of Athlete Culture and Experience, the longest title I've ever held in my life. And it was less dean.
Okay.
And more so just, I would say, director of player development, if you want to call it something. So I was literally living with the guys and waking up with them like every morning, knocking on doors.
So like an RA basically.
That plus 10 other things, and just helping them kind of manage this ecosystem.
The big homie role for sure.
So and then like you building trust with them, you helping them understand what career development is about, you helping them understand what being a professional is about, you helping them understand what showing up every day actually does, because they don't get it at first.
Right.
Sometimes they don't get it second either, or third, right? But everyone won't. And, you know, Spoon and I both, we mutually know people who just never got it. They just never understood it. And that's how their career went. And unfortunately, the career didn't last very long. And then when they transitioned out of playing, no one would touch them. So I didn't want that to happen to these guys. So I passed on knowledge that I got from playing, from locker rooms, from the Players Association and all of those things to all of these guys. And in doing so, I'm still trying to learn like the business of this. Because in year one, I didn't truly understand the business model, how we made money, what things lost us money, you know, audience development.
It's crazy hearing you talk, bro, because we, especially in today's climate, like you see a lot of player-pushed podcasts where, you know, it's not the typical, the Stephen A's, the Whitlocks and those guys. It's a lot of guys that went through the trenches, if you will, and just try to give back that little piece of knowledge, you know, just a little bit that you learned that you know you don't want to see the same kid go through. Because I don't know if you probably don't even realize, but along my journey, it was guys like you that was around in my ear preaching the gospel the whole time, which is why, you know, we get in this situation now where it's like we got to give it back, because
Have to.
The older guys before me, you know, they got it. Yeah. They got it from the older generation before them, and I feel like we owe it to the game to do exactly what you're doing, bro. And it's astonishing to watch you.
Thank you.
Continue to elevate your brand post basketball.
Yeah, thank
because
you.
like you said, a lot of people don't really get that the transition isn't so fluid.
It's not fluid, and you focus so much on basketball that you almost neglect the person in you, because you've just been told, like, you know, you've been told, hey man, I gotta work hard, I gotta show up, I gotta be on time to this, I gotta go practice, I gotta, all those things. That's what you're told so many times that you actually neglect yourself, and you don't even ask yourself the question of what I'm gonna do when this ends, because when you're in it,
think you're a basketball player forever.
Yeah, I'm gonna do this forever.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have the same things, resources that every other player that's retired has. And then you look at that, you're like, well, wait, who are those players and what resources do they have? And that's why I say to people, like, tell me the players that you can name right now that's retired that are actually like super duper relevant, that you can look at and be like, I see this guy all the time. It's like 10.
15 tops.
Yeah, like, and that's unfortunate, because you know what type of skills you have to play in the NBA. Like, it's not just that. You got to have vocal skills. You got to have some type of leadership skills. You got to have some type of discipline, determination. You got to be able to have some type of commitment to something. Like, and if you can have those skills right there, like, those skills alone take you so much further in life. And we don't nurture those skills. We only nurture those skills in one space.
Yes.
We never expand that nurturing. And I think for me, what I wanted to do was expand that nurturing. I wanted to bring those set of skills and everything I learned in those locker rooms to the business side of basketball. And
man, we gonna chop that up. It's gonna look so good on video game. Oh my!
That's what I wanted to do.
Bro.
So here I am now, and as excited as I am about being here, and as happy as I am about being here and a part of something just that's growing every day, I'm also excited about the future too.
Yeah.
And every day I wake up like pushing that gas. Like I'm not done.
Yeah.
Like it's more. It's more. Like, be it for this, be it for something else, there's more. And I want to tap into that just like Michael Jordan has tapped into it, just like LeBron taps into it. And it may not be as sexy as what they have going on, but for me, again, I don't have to believe
Yeah.
that I have to be them. I just have to believe that what I'm doing serves a
Best
greater
version of
purpose.
yourself.
Yeah.
Really quick, something that you just said that I wanted to follow up on. So not only do you have to get these athletes to buy into that they're just more than an athlete, you also have to explain it and emphasize it to the parents. What are those conversations like? Because everybody want to play for overtime,
yeah.
right? And you have to be able to get the parents to understand that, hey, we want your son to come here and be successful as a basketball player, but we also want him to, meet his greatest potential off the playing field as well.
That's one of the most challenging parts of it, because there's some delusion out there.
A lot.
Good.
So you really have to be upfront and honest from
Yeah.
the first conversation, and you can't pull back that honesty throughout the relationship. It always has to be honest. So our guys, we don't show them highlight tapes of all the top 10 best players in the league, top 15 best players in the league. I talk to our guys about people like PJ Tucker, about Torian, about Pat Bev, about Torian Prince.
Dirty workers.
Yeah, I talk to our guys about those type of guys because PJ Tucker's made over $100-something million playing basketball, and he's
4 months without a basket.
He's a household name because of his sneaker collection,
Yes.
right? And he embraces that. Like he credit to him, he embraces that. He's found a lane that you can see. Like once he's really done that, like he may be the next, I don't know, who knows, like person that runs Nike basketball. You never really know. So
Because of that avenue.
because of the avenue, right? And that's what I talk to our kids and our parents about. It's like, you guys, like, we don't have a Kevin Durant here, not yet. I've seen we don't have a LeBron James here. We don't have a Steph Curry here yet. Like, so if you're not those guys, like, then that means you're a role player, right? Like, as good as Klay Thompson is as a shooter and won championships and things that he's been successful at, he's a role player, right? Like, you don't look at him and Steph on the same, they're not on the same level, and you have to accept being a role player and also be like, well, shoot, like I still can make a whole lot of money being a role player. And you got to be honest with players. You got to be honest with these parents and tell them exactly what we want from this person. And if you can't be this, then this may not be the place for you. Yeah. You're going to be disappointed more so than you are happy, because we have to be honest with you. And you may come in here thinking that, hey, I was a man at my high school though, but but you're not playing against some tall white kid who is a major in math and his parents making him play because he's tall. You're playing against a guy that's either better than you or just as good.
Coming from the same circumstance.
Come from the same circumstances. Yeah, everybody here is the man on their high school team. So that's where the iron sharpens iron mentality and environment that we try to create. So it's like, you're here to get better and develop. We don't care about your stats. They don't even go anywhere, right? Like, someone's going to win this OTE championship, but Georgia High School Association not going to recognize it. We are, and some media writers are, and things of that nature. Our social team will, but at the end of the day, Amin and Asar were top 5 picks here. They averaged 16 and 17 points a game. They weren't here averaging 30, 40 points a night because it wasn't about that. And they got picked 4 and 5, and on their team, they are role players.
Role players. And they was the man when they was here.
Right.
When they was here, they would have faced 10,000%. I'm glad you broke that down like that, because a lot of people don't see it like that. They see it as, I'm the best on my team. That means I got to be the best everywhere I go. Yeah. And it's not how it works.
It's not how it works. I was a McDonald's All-American. At one point, I was ranked the #1 player in my class as a senior, and I didn't get drafted. Like, it means nothing. Like, it literally means nothing, because at the end of the day, even my first practice as an NBA player, real quick, like, I went first day of training camp. I had a great training camp. Went to training camp with a chip on my shoulder. I'm mad I didn't get drafted. I see Ray Allen. I said, I'm about to bust his ass.
I'm at you.
Like, I'm about to get at him because I got nothing to lose. So if this gonna be my last day, I'm about to make this shit count.
Take your ass up.
Went right at his neck, and like after practice, Nate McMillan pulled me to the side. He said, "Hey, young fella, you shot the ball well today. You was killing, huh?" I was like, "Yeah, it felt good." He said, "See, this the problem I got with that though. I got Ray Allen, I got Rashard Lewis, I got Vladimir Radmanovich, I got Antonio Daniels, I got Flip Murray. Those are the guys that's gonna get the ball to score. None of those guys play defense. Want to play for me?
Gotta play some defense.
You gotta do something else. That ain't gonna get you on the floor. As a matter of fact, that might get you a plane ticket." And I said, "Oh, okay. You just want me to play defense and I can play?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "You know what happens when you do that? Your minutes get extended.
Yeah, you gotta get on. That's all you gotta do is get on the floor.
You might get an open look. You knock that one down, you might get another one." He was like, "So that's your play. It ain't gonna be nothing that I draw up for you. It ain't gonna be nothing I call out for you. Because you sixth in line. And if you sixth in line to get a play call for you, 9 times out of 10, you're never getting that play call for you because it's 5 guys I got to go through to call play." He was like, "So if you can do the dirty work, if you can play defense and help Ray Allen out so he doesn't have to guard Kobe, so Flip Murray don't have to guard Manu Ginobili, you can play on my team." I walked through, I said, "Say no more. Whatever you need me to do." And even that year, I didn't get in a game until game 62. And you know how we won that game? Off a steal that I got at the end of the game. And he was like, "I told you, get on the floor if you play defense."
Opportunity.
Just gotta trust the process and trust the coach.
Yeah, and it took off from there. So I think not only God, but people at the highest level of basketball, they laugh at our plans, right? Like, you have to come in and you got to play a role, and if you can't play that role, they're gonna get you out of. Someone will, because I'm the someone that will to get on the court. Like, there's more people in the NBA right now with my career path than there are with LeBron James's and Steph Curry's and Kevin Durant's.
All right, so damn, I gotta step in right here, right quick, because every episode it happens like this, where it's just a perfect segue, right? So during that 62 game period where I'm already knowing what it's like behind the scenes, where you the first in the gym, you the last one to leave, you there 5 hours before the game. I already know how that part goes. Talk about mentally how it was for you to not say, "Man,
it was tough.
Man,
it was tough because, you know, we competitors, we hoopers. Like, you want to hoop and, you know, you want to show people that you can actually do this. So it's 2 things I learned, right? So it teaches you patience, for sure, and it teaches you respect for people that's in front of you. It teaches you the business side as well. Like, you know, this is how it goes. But for me, I got lost in the process, and I didn't worry about what I wanted. I worried about how can I help the team, because at some point you got to realize, like, the better the team is and the better the team gets and the longer the team plays, then that's more money for me, one, like, and like at some point the NBA is a long season. Like, those guys were way older than I was. So I'm like, man, at some point,
ankles and backs and hammies and all that stuff.
I'm like, these guys playing a lot of minutes. So it's like, at some point,
need a little shot.
Yeah, so like, you actually get more encouraged the longer it goes, because it's like, wait a minute, like, I know I'm seeing other teams. I'm not hoping no one goes down with an injury, but you like, my opportunity got to be coming soon. But I got lost in the work. I used to play it. It wasn't even coaches that would even like truly work out with me when you the last man on the bench. Like, they don't. Yeah, I'm straight. They be like, "Hey, man, you get your shots up today.
Man, turn the lights off when you leave."
Yeah. Make sure. Hey, look, man. Make sure you put that towel up when you're done. I had to work out with our video coordinator. Me and him used to play full court 1-on-1 every day.
Man, shout out J5 in San Antonio, man. J5 was my guy, same way.
Like, that's what I would do. I would play 1-on-1 full court with him every day just to stay ready. But then you look back at it and you're like, man, this could be a lot worse. You guys are paying me to come in here to work out. I got one of the best seats in the house, and I get to learn from Hall of Famers like Ray Allen every day. So, and all-stars like Rashard Lewis. Like, I'm like, okay, this ain't bad. But there is that boiling competitive spirit in you that's like, man, I just want this opportunity. I want this opportunity. If you have good veterans,
I was just about to get into that.
having good veterans though helps in those situations because they're constantly telling you, stay ready, like, stay ready, stay ready. I'm telling you, like, stay ready. So when Ray Allen would come to me and tell me that, I'd be like, oh shit, his knees hurt.
So it gotta be today. Today is the day.
Yeah. I'll be like, man, his knee must be hurting. He telling me stay ready. This might be the day. So those things keep you encouraged. And you know, nowadays that's what's sad about from what I see.
Man, I was just about to say that. Talk about the importance though of that role, like the missing role in a sense, because it's not even on the basketball floor for sure. Like the veteran leadership role is missing a lot in the NBA. But talk about how important it was having those veterans kind of guide you off the floor as well.
Yeah,
like how much that aspect.
You look around now, right? Take Memphis for instance. Like prior to bringing Derrick Rose in, like Ja Morant, he's their veteran. He's what, 22, 23. Like I didn't have a veteran that was. I was that.
Right.
Like my veterans was married. 20,
Kids,
29,
right?
30, 33, like families, like real veterans. And it's missing in today's game that like you have those guys who can kind of just command the locker room. You know, people want to talk about Udonis all they want to, but like the value that he just added. In
That's
the
why they
locker
kept him
room.
around.
Yeah, like my last year playing in Indiana, you know, Kevin Pritchard and Chad Buchanan and Nate McMillan came up to me. They told me what it was going to be. They said, look, man, we got Lance Stevenson here. Like, we need someone that he can respect, that you can you help him just stay in line for this season because we got big plans for him. And I was like, that's all y'all want me to do? Yeah.
I got it.
We're not promising you no minutes.
Yeah.
You may play, you probably won't. We know, like, you're an older guy. We know you're about to transition out of the league. And we feel like you're the perfect guy for our locker room. Easy work. Easy.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. So I get to Indiana. They sign me for a 1-year deal. And every road trip, I'm sitting next to Lance. Every flight, he's sitting next. We're sitting next to each other. Locker room, our lockers next to each other. And every time anytime he would have a meltdown or he just go off the handle, like I gotta grab him. Like, Lance, let's go talk in the back. Get off his chest what you gotta get off. I'll say some veteran shit to him, and he'll be like,
You right.
yeah, OG, you right. You right. You right. Go back, and he cool. My job, that was my job. And I embraced that because people did that for me. Now I wasn't like as outspoken, for lack of a better term, that Lance was, but veterans came up to me and hugged, put their arms around me, or when I was on bullshit, they pulled my coattail and was like, yo, bro,
that ain't it.
like, young fella, that ain't it.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. You know, and one thing Rashard Lewis always told me, he was like, yo, everything I'm telling you, and I want to help you. I was like, but the most important thing about this knowledge I give you, just know it came to me from someone else.
Yes.
I'm passing it to you. Your responsibility is to pass it.
Ritual like almost.
Yeah. So, and I was like, cool. So when Lance was the only person that I was kind of given, right, that responsibility for, like, that's been kind of like the latter years of my career. That's what it was about. And that's why I tell these guys it's important to maintain professionalism, and no matter what the circumstances you're going through, don't walk away pointing fingers and blaming people publicly for something that didn't happen for you, because sometimes business ain't personal. And you never know who will come up to you and say, hey, I want you in my locker room for 1 year. And I'll pay you the full veteran minimum to do
Make
just
sure this
that.
locker room is locked in.
Yeah.
For sure, 10,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, we talk about all the time about that period of basketball in Georgia where it was like, all right, bro, like it's really some, like we gotta sit and have this conversation. So I had older brothers, right? My oldest brother graduated in 2000, and that was Gerald Fitch and Kwame Brown, and
All the
so I got
guys.
to see that. And then 4 years later, my other brother comes, and that's when you get Josh Smith and Lou and Randolph Moore. Like, I got to see some real basketball, bro.
Yeah.
And all of those guys now, when they see me now, it's like, man, ain't no way you, like, yeah, bro, like, time kept timing, gang. Like, and I got to, because of you guys, I got to keep saying, that's why I got to keep giving you your flowers, bro, because you were around during that time period, bro. Like, I got to see you play live in action. You was really the guy. Like, I got to see you be the guy.
Thank you.
It's incredible, gang.
Yeah.
Like, I got to give you flowers, bro.
Yeah.
Because
No, I mean that those, you know, those the town guys, and that competition, it brings out the best of you, and like you know better than anyone like who you are for an NBA team and what they're asking you to do to keep your job. That same dude, a different dude in the summertime when all of them politics ain't around.
Oh man.
Like,
you know, we won a championship
yeah,
together, man,
yeah,
playing summer basketball, bro.
yeah,
So you like I say, bro, it's that part is uberly important as well. Knowing that because this guy's 13, 14 on the NBA roster, do not get it confused, bro. He is there for a reason. And gladly he'll tune you up whenever you feel like you want to get slick.
Right. I try to tell people that all the time. Like, don't count. You guys, you young guys, y'all look at that 15th man on the NBA roster, like, he don't even get no playing time. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, come
Just
see it in the
wait.
summer league. Come to the crossover league and see that 14, 15 man get off.
You're going to look at him like,
damn.
and my goal always, I always leave those environments and those gyms. My goal, my sole goal and purpose was to walk out of that gym and have someone say,
man, who in the hell was
he
that?
should be playing. That, because then I knew I represented myself the right way, and that I did not take this moment for granted. Like, I used to love seeing that when we were walking the gym in the summer, wherever we played, St. Philip, ABL, Prather League, whatever it was. I wanted to walk in those gyms and like make a statement and like let people know, like, yeah, I know you guys know these guys, and I know you guys know me locally, but like I'm gonna make you know me.
Yeah, you gonna respect me for sure.
Yeah, just the same way you respect the Lou's and the Josh and you, Spoon, and Fitch.
That's fire.
And all
That's
those
fire. Y'all
dudes,
don't
man.
let
Like,
that go over your head, y'all.
and it was always love, right? But like they knew what it was with me. I knew what it was with them. I knew I was gonna get all of Lou and his crowd
every time.
I knew it. I knew I was gonna get all that. So I'm like, I can't walk in there and cower.
Half-step.
Like, I gotta give you me and the 4 people that's here with me against you and the 90 people that's here with you, right? Like, you gotta, that's just that brought the best out of you. And getting the respect of your peers was one of the most important things for me. Like, I wanted those guys respect. I wanted to walk in the gym and be like, yo, I got him. He with me today. You know, like, that was big for me. Like, you know, Spoon always been little bro. Like, he always been that.
That's fine.
Without even us having a bunch of dialogue all the time, like, it was always love, and he always like, Spoon, what you working on today? Like, what we doing? You know, so it was always that, and it's always gonna be that for me. Even now, I'm 44 years old. I walk in the gym right now. It's gonna be tough, but I ain't walking out.
Right.
Definitely ice bath and Epsom salt.
Yeah, I ain't walking out.
But you gonna know that it wasn't that.
Yeah,
you
for
definitely
sure.
gonna know. Give me one guy, bro, throughout your journey where you was like, yo, this guy can really go. Like, people ask me all the time who was the toughest guy I had to guard throughout my basketball journey, and I give them the same guy every time. Mine was Johnny Flynn. Like, when I
played with him in Minnesota.
Man, my first time playing against Flynn, I'm a freshman in college. Transition, he pew 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 pew. And he caught it one time, and my eyes cried. I'm like, oh.
He was my rookie in Minnesota.
Yeah, this kid is good.
Man, I played against some good ones. You know, I could say the easy ones, the Kobe's, the T-Macs, the Kevin Durant's, but a dude that gave me fits from college on to the NBA, who was like one of the biggest sleepers, was Kevin Martin.
Whoo! Kmart was tough.
Oh my God, Kevin Martin, man, that crazy weird
jumper.
Jump
If he got it off, it was good.
Yeah, man, he was averaging at, what was it, Western Carolina?
Tough.
He was averaging
Martin.
like 38. He came in the Stegman Coliseum at Georgia and had like 39. And it was like easy. And it looked easy, but it felt very difficult when you guarding.
Yeah.
But like he was coming off the screens going every way that our scouting report said he couldn't go. And like I was like, man, who is this skinny dude? Like anytime a guy make me want to fight him, that should let you know.
Can't
like,
let it get you there, gang.
He getting the best of you because it's like it's so frustrating the shots he hitting. He's not saying a word.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm gonna fight this dude.
Yeah.
Like he got
Ain't no
me
way.
all the way messed up.
Ain't no way it's going like that.
Yeah, man. Like my family here, man.
Right.
So I would say him. T-Mac was always a tough cover. Brandon Roy.
B. Roy, man. Shout out B. Roy, man. B. Roy was
Brandon Roy
tough.
was one of the toughest covers I've ever, like, my rookie year, I tell you, my first, after game 62, my matchups were, that first game I played in was against Brandon Roy. It was Portland, at Portland. So it was Brandon Roy, Manu Ginobili, Kobe, back at home against LeBron, and then back at Portland again against Ruben Patterson. Those are my first 5 matchups after I got in that one game.
The Kobe stopper.
Oh my gosh.
Those are my matchups. And I was like, yeah, I'm probably going to just go back there. Y'all don't need me no more right now.
This ain't really it.
The West was like...
The West,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
And everybody,
For sure.
every best player on the Western Conference team back then was a wing. There wasn't no centers that they were throwing the ball. Like, Peja Stojakovic, I had to guard him.
People don't realize how big. I was just about to say, people don't realize how big Peja was, man. Peja was a big guy.
It was definitely a learning experience and one, again, from the playground to the parks to the gyms here locally to my career on the floor to my career off the floor. Like, none of it was a loss to me. It was I either won or I either learned.
Well, Damien, we are short of time. We didn't even get to half of our questions, but we're going to definitely have to do a part 2.
I'm with that.
Off season, because I know tonight is a
I'm with
big
that.
night for you
I'm
guys.
with
Thank you so much. We know
Thank
you're
you.
a busy man. We wish you the best of luck.
Appreciate it.
It's your girl, JQ.
And it's your boy Spoon, man. That's another episode of
Counting Me Out podcast. We're out.